Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Chat Box Veil, coming to you from High Five Access Media. We are your local mental health podcast where we try and bring in so many beautiful guests that can make us feel good, work through our issues, and any kind of thing that has to do with mental health and wellness we like to bring to light here in our community. My co-host, Jenn.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Liz, and we have a very special guest today. Her name is Erin Hillary, but also goes by Dr. Erin Sutra. Now, you are a somatic therapist and a transpersonal coach, which I'll need explanation on a lot of things. I can also see you are an author and an illustrator, and you're an artist, you're a mother, you do so many things. You also teach yoga. So you're basically filled with knowledge on how to make people really relax and get through to their emotional processes.
Yeah. I'm really into flow state, like how to open up and just get into flow state and how to get into our authentic presence and our creative power. And I think that's the most relaxing thing.
I think that's beautiful. I would love to relax. Any day now. Ready to go.
Any day. That's how I feel.
Right.
Like, this is going to work soon.
Jen and I both have very frenetic lives.
All right.
So to deal with a frenetic life, you always deal with anxiety and pressure and stress and timing and things like that. So we're an ongoing mental health battle, but what we like to do is relate to everybody in the community. Everybody is struggling with so many things, whether it is the universal stress that's going on with our country right now or just personal things. I have to tell you that I used to laugh when I was younger that people say if you have any issues when you're older, it usually leads to your childhood or your parents. I'm like, oh God, get over it. No, it's true. It is true. You are affected by the people that you are surrounded with your entire life, and you start off nice and fresh, like a little baby, and then it's the elements and the people that change your DNA, they change your way of thinking, your perspective on life, your fear factor, your anxiety, your nerves, your central nervous system, and so much more. So why we have you here today is because I discovered you on Facebook, and I saw your posts, and I also like that you're a little... what's the word? I don't know. You have a little dark, not a dark side, a really cool side to you. Like what we were going to talk about later on, you have a very cool.
Well, I use the word Tantra a lot. Like it's tantric lifestyle.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So a little sexy stuff too, which is okay because that helps with the mental health too.
Yeah.
So I don't even know where to start. What is a somatic therapist?
Okay. That's a great place to start because that's kind of where I started. Somatic therapy there's an idea that our emotions and even our soul represents itself in our physical sensations. And so the way I started out doing body work and teaching yoga, but the way to release emotions is actually through the physical body. And so that's why it's called somatic, is because I do body work and yoga, and people get people deep into their bodies, but then start to ask them questions about what they're thinking and feeling, what's going on in their consciousness, and they realize things about themselves as they open, like you open your shoulder and your mother's living there, and you really
get out
and get you got to let it out of the physical body, or it's not going to go away. It's just going to keep. That's
really intriguing because I do know that, and you know this too. When we are not well in the head, we don't feel well in our bodies. Totally. It actually create illnesses and things like that. And so this is a really interesting way to come about finding out how we could either bring the two together or actually separate the two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's this idea that a lot of our illnesses and problems are psychosomatic. I mean, which people get mad when I say that. But my first experience, is it okay if I talk about my meditational experiences?
Please.
My first experience with really feeling this was it's a type of meditation called Vipassana meditation. And they call it meditation boot camp because you go for 10 days and you can't talk and you can't move. Towards the end of it, you're supposed to just sit there totally still and move and not react to any of your physical sensations, right?
I'll be living in my other shoulder.
Talking to your mother.
But you're supposed to go through the body and just look at all the physical sensations, and this is Buddha's style of meditation.
Nice.
But I'm really simplifying it, and people might get mad at me for telling all of the secrets of it, but it's so simple. You're just running through yourself like a scanner, looking at all the physical sensations with the inner eye. But what's interesting about it is after not reacting to them for a while, they just disappear. And I healed cavities in my teeth the first time that I
Really?
All right, let me add magician to the list of things she is.
I do everything.
What? Please. You really healed a cavity?
Yeah, I had a cavity, and then I went and checked it out, and it was gone after that retreat. And that's what I became a true believer after that.
So what are you telling yourself when you're healing yourself? Are you just identifying the pain and then just acknowledging that is enough to make it go away? Or are you also telling your body to
Great
heal?
question.
That's a good question.
No, it's an amazing question because I'm sitting here stupefied. So I
People tell themselves a lot of things.
Yes, they do. That's why, psychosomatics, it's kind of the, reverse psychology in that. Instead of saying bad things and making you sick, it's saying good things and
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean,
Makes sense.
At base root, it's nice to be neutral. To not diagnose at all, to just look at all the physical sensations as sensations with curiosity. And I mean, it's nice to do that to any part of ourselves or our lives. And mantra's good, telling yourself that it's good or that it's getting better. But the problem with saying I'm getting better and better is you're acknowledging that you're not doing very well and you need to get better. So the trick of the mind is to already be where you want to be or to be completely neutral to it, just to let it be.
So what do you say to people?
That's
What do
so
you say to
fascinating,
people
I
who
love
are
it.
lost right now? Maybe somebody that could really use a practice like this, and they don't know how to start off neutral. They're already telling themselves lots of things.
We do. We tell ourselves a lot of things.
Oh yeah, and it's not
All
always
day long.
positive.
No.
And so I would like to figure out how to get away from the negative thoughts or talking to, and then how do you process that through the meditation act?
There's a lot of ways to come at that. Somatically is amazing because, and I did solely this for a lot of years. People have a lot of realizations when they're just going deep into their body. I mean, that's what the body work is, getting people to just put their consciousness in every part of their body and see what happens emotionally, right? And to just, once we have understanding, then things shift. But over the last few years, I've been studying consciousness programming and trauma work, which is so interesting. And people we're living in loops. What you were talking about when you opened, how we have an experience when we're little, or even intergenerational things, or, there's wounds that pass through so many generations. And we keep coming back to that. So a lot of our self-destructive patterns are really just kind of revisiting this thing that doesn't agree with what our natural state of being is. So the deepest root of healing to me at this point in my practice that I found is to find where a wound or an idea or a limited belief or a conflicting belief, find where it started, and then get into that place emotionally and figure out what we decided about life from that point.
Because people do get trauma later in life too. It's not always your childhood that starts it. I know people that have had stuff happen later in life where your life could have been a really happy, magical experience growing up, and then all of a sudden something tragic happens. And I do know that trauma can literally change your DNA.
Totally.
And that scares me, but then again, I'm not a big fan of my DNA anyway, so good, we'll keep going. But my family tree's been written in pencil. You don't even want to know. But this is really important because this is something that can really work for anybody, no matter how long they've been living in the same cycle of trauma, like you just said, or maybe they've just been exposed to something new that, their world was fine, and then all of a sudden, oh my God, how to deal with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
and
what do you do?
Well, the somatic quality is you can get into the pain, like the physical pain in the body, and start to ask it. You can talk to. We're coming back to talking to parts of your body.
That's okay. I talk to one part, it never listens.
But you can, if you're trying to figure out the origin of something, say you have a chronic shoulder issue or a chronic knee issue, you can move so that your attention gets on it. People call it yoga or exercise, or you can just get into it and start to kind of see what comes to mind. And a lot of times you'll get flashes of an incident or something that happened, right? And so that's where you know where to begin. But if there is actually a traumatic event that you remember that you want to work on, then the trick is to go back into it, processing everything you remember about it. And when an animal, say an antelope's getting chased by a lion through the savannah or whatever, I might not have animals in their habitats, right, when I'm describing this.
It's out there.
Yeah, when the prey is getting chased by the predator through the, and this is a broad generalization, but if it doesn't get caught, the animal goes through a process where it kind of shakes afterwards. There's actually physical practices of releasing trauma that we see happening in the natural world. And so as humans, to release these trauma loops that we've been through, we have to go through that. So we have to get back in there emotionally and re-experience it and figure out everything we decided about life, because it's could have decided I'll never be safe again, or love hurts, or, I'm going to age terribly and deteriorate, or illness is just inevitable, or, people have all these things. And so we get back into that place where we first got that idea and then make different decisions about our life from that emotional state.
Because don't you feel like we can actually, if you think something hard enough, it could possibly come to light?
Absolutely.
That's why I don't want to, you just mentioned a bunch of things that Jen and I talk about a lot, whether it's aging or, just finding your ground or loving yourself or figuring out a way to get through every damn day without chaos. And it's always chaos, but the way to maybe ground yourself is to focus in on that. It's almost like a form of EMDR, because you have to process the trauma, and then they're doing something else to you. But this is something that you can do on your own.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's even, I think about it's really popular, and there's a lot of different names for it. I've studied a lot of the different methods, and then I kind of bring it down to my own understanding of it. Mine's more fluid. But it's like humans are time traveling through their lives. Right? Even past life regression is becoming really popular. We're traveling even through our fantasies or our imagination of what happened in past lives or with our ancestors. But the trick for me is to actually connect it with what we want to happen. Connect that pain with what we want to occur instead of what we decided by default. And that changes our DNA, that changes the way that we react to things.
It's also a positive way to work out something, as opposed to when something bad happens, what do we normally do? What the hell's wrong with me? Why did I do? We always go back to ourselves or somebody that hurt us.
Yeah.
And instead of maybe taking your approach, can we have a little practice? Can you do something with Jen?
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see how it works. I'm curious.
Okay. So what we do is we start with something that you want to shift in your life.
Okay. Do I have to say that out loud? Is it like a birthday wish?
Well, if I know what it is, it's easier to help you unravel it.
Right, so it's a birthday wish that won't go through.
We could just meditate and tap your shoulder. I keep coming back to
Can it be like related to pain, or is it like something that I want to fix, like wealth or like time management or that kind
Yeah,
of thing?
it could be something that you think limits you, or
Like,
something
where are
that
you
you keep
stuck?
coming up against, or something where you're stuck.
Like how about financial wellness?
Okay, so financial wellness. How would you describe your issues with money or finance?
They're limited.
Limited money.
I think it's just that, for me, I think because living in that frenetic state of being all the time, so maybe it's coming, it's not necessarily money issues, but maybe we'll go back to the frenetic.
It's like the
Frenetic state
fear
of
of
being.
the money issues. It
Yeah.
causes an emotional reaction.
100%. And it's, because things get so busy in life, my choices, aren't necessarily the smartest choices. I'm buying that coffee because I need, caffeine, because I didn't get to make the breakfast that I wanted to make, because my kitchen is not set up the way I need it to be, or my living situation is weird, or, it could go on forever,
Yeah.
or it's like, I don't feel confident in my cooking skills. So like, spending an hour and a half in the grocery store, like it stresses me out. So it's like, being able to make the fast choices that I need to keep up with my frenetic life usually equal not healthy food choices, which usually cost money,
Oh, sure.
or time and not being able to organize my time properly, so like I have to double back, or I miss the exit on the way here, so like I that's extra gas money. So just little things like that, I feel like. So I think really the root is not necessarily financial, it's calming that frenetic state of mind and state of being all of the time that I feel like allows just the chaos to thrive.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think you're talking about an issue that so many people have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so we'll just do like a mini version so you can get an idea, because we can work on this for an hour and a half, and I make a meditation at the end, and it can be a very extensive process, but just to even recognize it is really healing, right? So,
Yes, absolutely.
So just close your eyes and come into your body and breathe into your body like energy inhabiting a vehicle. It's coming into your eternal self and feeling what it's like to just be in this body and in this life. Kind of disconnecting from your day-to-day existence and feeling who you are, your base nature. So I'm recognizing Jenn's highest existence and what she's here to learn, what she's here to exhibit, the wisdom she's a source of in this life. And right here, right now, we would like to know where the idea that her life is frenetic and chaotic, where did that idea begin? Where was the first moment that Jenn realized that life is actually frenetic and chaotic? And it's the first time she got the idea that life is frenetic. We'd like to go back to that very first point and unravel this knot, unravel this pattern from that moment. Jenn, what do you see? Just take me, even if it's an arbitrary.
What's that? I'm sorry.
I said, tell me what you see. Take me to what you see. You'll get a little vision.
So I think it's taking me to the place where I got divorced and having to navigate that life as a single mom.
Is it taking you to a particular moment, like 5 minutes to 24 hours?
No, but I can see like the house that we lived in.
Yeah. Can you feel it in your body?
You can, yeah. It's
What do you feel in your body?
You mentioned like a knot, and so I'm like envisioning like a knot wrapped around like the house, like seeing it from like in bird's eye view.
I see that. Do you feel it? Are you having any physical sensations in your body?
No, but I'm like seeing like it kind of colors, I think. That makes sense.
Yeah. So get into that. Tell me, go into the house. Do you see yourself doing something? Take me to a moment in the house, a moment when that all came into being? That idea of the chaos, frenetic.
There's like a moment in that house where the toilet exploded because my sons had shoved so much stuff down the toilet. They'd like to flush things, and it caused an explosion out of the first floor toilet.
Yeah, so go into that. Go into your body, and I want to hear what were you feeling? What do you feel in your body? What were you feeling at that moment? What did you decide about yourself at that moment?
I think at that moment it was like the same day that my where like my ex was moving out and my mom was living there still, and so like we were having to deal with it together, and it was just like this stress conversation between both of us and just having to deal with it.
Yeah, I hear you. So going into that, just can you feel that feeling of the stress? Normally I'd ask you to repeat the story a lot of times, but I just want you to breathe into that feeling and that chaos in that room. And I want you to tell me what you decided about your life at that moment.
I think that was the moment where everything felt chaotic and unmanageable.
Yeah. What did you decide about yourself at that moment? And your future and your power?
That it was not my own.
Your power's not your own. What else did you decide about your power?
I guess that was a time in my life where I felt like I didn't have control over my future, or, I felt limited in my resources and my options of how to move forward.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you, Jenn. So I'd like you to breathe into that. Just breathe into that feeling, and we're going to call something else out instead. What do you want instead in Happy Fairy Wonderland instead of my power is limited? Like beyond any limitations, beyond any constrictions in your current life, what would you like if everything was perfect?
The ability to handle it gracefully and to move forward.
Let's hear an I statement. Like a declaration, I.
I'm able to handle stress and move forward clearly and without obstruction and without feeling like my options are limited.
Beautiful. And then what else? The other one you said is that my future is not my own. My power is not my own. What would you like instead? Just breathe into like fairy unicorn land. No grounding in reality.
I create my future and the opportunities and possibilities, and I hold the reins to the possibilities that come into my life.
That's beautiful, Jenn. Why don't you breathe into that feeling and make a few more declarations about your life, the life that your birthright life.
Limitations are only challenges, and I am able to creatively solve any obstacle that is thrown my way.
Amazing, Jenn. I'm just going to call it into reality. Normally I'd have everything written down in exactly your words, and there'd be a whole list of them. But it's really powerful to just state it into being. I'm calling into Jenn's highest self. I'm calling into the expression that she's meant to have in this world. And I know that the only reason that she was taken away from her power, from her feeling of control over her life, was so that she could reclaim it right here, right now, so that she could know the full extent of this. And she could feel the power of it when she finally opens up to her truth and her true power. And so I declare right here, right now, a flow of power running through Jenn that she's used to, and also that feels different, that feels new, that she has control over her life, that she gets to move through stress and craziness with calm and peace and structure and her power, because that's the truth of her existence in this world. And all of the challenges were just there to help her realize who she really is. And I send it out around her to reflect back at her through everything she does and every interaction she has and everything she says and the places she goes over the next few days, to reflect back to her like kind of spooky with synchronicities and interesting turns of events, just to help her remember her power. And I see it. I'm so grateful. Thank you. So that's a mini session.
That was beautiful. How do you feel right now? Because I feel more empowered watching.
Well, when you were asking me like the pain I felt, like, or what I was feeling in my body, like I wasn't feeling anything, but then I realized once you fixed things that I feel like I was sitting, like I felt like my shoulders were tensing, and then like as you were like giving me the empowering motivation, I felt like, you know, I was breathing deeper and I was like feeling that, and it started to feel like I was sitting taller. And
I
you
thought
see
she was
it?
going to bang on her chest and go, I am woman, here we are. No, I really, as a person watching, when you first started, your eyes were like blinking a lot. And then when she started giving you the powerful suggestions, they were relaxing.
Yeah.
And they were just doing a little blinking, but it seemed like watching through your eyelids, you were absorbing all of the positive affirmations that she was saying and accepting them. You weren't saying no. You weren't. You were like embracing each thing that was going into your psyche. And I feel like without knowing what was in your head, I could watch the calm come over you.
that's interesting.
Yeah, you look like shinier or like glowier too. Yeah.
See that? And then that can also give her some sort of positive feeling within herself. So like when she wants to take the next step, she knows that she's not limited.
Absolutely.
She knows she's not being held back. Nobody is telling her what to do.
Well, what's interesting is that I didn't think that I was feeling any of that in my body, and I haven't thought of that moment in years, and so it was weird that that's what happened, like in the course of it, and then, you know, even like feeling like I was having pain here too. I know it sounds so stupid, but like I was noticing, and probably with the breath work too, that like this was feeling like alleviated, and so I don't know. It's just I feel like not until after the exercise do I feel like I was able to fully like realize what I was going through or like feeling. So it's kind of interesting.
That's
really
cool.
cool.
Yeah, we took an hour and a half and put it into like 3 minutes maybe, or 5.
No, it's cool. And just because in that brevity, like it felt awesome. So I would love to do like to really dig deep and explore would be really cool.
Yeah, and I love to work with, I mean, normally I'd be furiously writing because I think it's really important to use people's exact words.
Yeah.
You know, like when I feed it back to you, I say your exact words so you can hear it, and the limitations too. And then, I mean, there's so many things that we can do, or you can do. Those recognitions that you had, you could like move in your body and breathe into those places that you notice that hurt and see if any more of that incident comes up. Or, I mean, there's so many ways you can go with it. But at base root, just recognizing it
That's
creates a huge shift.
It's so intriguing. I mean, that was powerful just for just the small amount of time that you worked with her. Can you imagine if we had like a 3-hour podcast?
Yeah.
I know.
We'd have like 8 people in a circle crying.
Yeah, that was a lot of heat. I was like, okay, you want me to do one right now?
Wow. Sorry, yeah, I like to put people on the spot, but if you know what you're doing, you know what you're doing. And that was really pleasurable to watch, just to see the impact it was having. And can I ask you a question? What started your journey into healing?
Oh man, I mean,
Another on-the-spot question from Liz.
Well, I mean, I was an alternatine in Seattle in the grunge era. So
What's an alternative? Like alternative music with mohawks?
Rebellious, no mohawks, but a lot of, plaid and mosh pits and divorced parents, a lot of angst. I think I just also came in with a deep sensitivity, so I felt things really deeply, but I also got into yoga really early, so there was that contradiction of being around a lot of, even attracted to really dark things. Like I was from hippies and, I was interested in schizophrenia and things, so if somebody was like...
Which voice told you about that one?
If somebody was like dark, I was kind of interested. I think
That's
it's like
okay, because I'm like that too. I think you are too a little bit. There's nothing wrong with being intrigued by the darkness of things as long as you can differentiate, that you can come back out of it and not feel like you are now immersed into that dark place.
I'm part of it.
Yeah, because that can happen too.
Like the most popular genre right now too is like crime shows.
Oh yeah, I know. We like that. We like it. We say we don't want drama.
I want to solve everything. But I mean, that's okay because that's our curious nature, and I think that's why we like to get into stuff like that. And it's something that we possibly would never do ourselves, or maybe dream of, but. So it's something that we can immerse ourselves into and then come back out of feeling almost normal.
Yeah, it's safer on TV than if you're doing it in real life.
Yeah.
But I would say that the base root of my wound and a lot of wounds that I see is codependence. Codependent relationships, but also having an emptiness that we are trying to fill with something outside of ourselves. That's really what codependence comes down to. And, coming from a difficult parental relationship and not having any paradigm to form healthy relationships, and then just kind of also that interest in psychos, like getting into that. And there was a lot of crazy adventures and wandering, a lot like beautiful, beautiful, crazy art parties and wandering all over the world and all of that stuff mixed with also terrible codependent relationships. I was a single mother too.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
My kid's father's. He was everything I could have possibly wanted to have trauma about.
Sorry.
But that paired with the lifetime of studying yoga and meditation and self-realization, I mean, I think that really, we go after wounds because we want to heal them and we want to turn them into wisdom for other people, so.
Oh, stop right there. That was really, really good. We want to turn our wounds into wisdom.
Yes.
That's like our new motto. Turn your wounds into... No, seriously, because a lot of times, people get hurt and they don't realize that they're learning and growing from it and becoming more empowered because of it. Because unless you sink into it and woe's me about it, but if you can take the opportunity to see what just happened in your life, find out about what brought it on, it will prepare you for your next, whether it's a relationship, a job, or a scenario that you could probably handle a little bit differently and with a little bit more sense of self.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, and when it really gets down to it, everything and everyone in our lives could be a figment of our imagination. Like we're getting deep here. We only can know our perception of things, right?
Yeah.
And so the ultimate power is to own what we did to create a situation, or what we did to put ourselves in a bad situation, to move out of the victim state and to really figure out how we chose it, how we contributed to it, how we pushed it along, what we did to create it, and then we get creative power over these terrible things in our lives, and that gives us creative power in general, which is impossible to achieve unless we're willing to recognize how we created the hard things in our lives. So
that's very profound. I love that. Whew, I need a breather out of this one. This is so intriguing. Erin, I can call you Erin, right? Or do I call you Doctor?
You can call me Erin.
Dr. Erin. That is just one small portion of what you bring to everybody when it comes down to feeling better, getting out of a hole, a dark space, feeling lonely, feeling isolated, feeling sad, depressed, lost, confused. Oh, I can come up with all of them because they're all in there. But aside from the practice that you do with Jenn and the meditation and the yoga, what else do you offer? I see so many books sitting here, and I do want to get into a little bit of that stuff that we were talking about, the Kama Sutra stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But what are these books about? Are they all different?
Yeah. So I have
a lot of books.
I know. Well, this Prostitute to Priestess was my thesis for my doctorate.
Hey, that was my high school.
I know, yeah. We and it's a workbook. So
It says A Woman's Guide to Replacing Codependency with Tantra.
Yes.
Wow, that's a longer episode, isn't it?
Yeah.
So this is a workbook. And can these be found at the Bookworm locally or anything like
Not
that?
yet,
Not
but
yet?
I would love for that. They're on Amazon right now.
Okay.
And that's basically, there's a lot of cool stories, like stories that I've witnessed, may or may not be true. And it kind of displays what's possible, and really it's about how people are seeking soothing outside of themselves when they can really, we have to find it in our inside. And essentially that we are the drugs. We are a source of whatever it is that we're here to represent. And
Absolutely. Did you draw the illustration?
Yeah, that's one of my paintings.
Okay, I just want to touch you to get the good energy. Wow, she's an amazing person. All right, now we're going to take a look at this one.
This one, I illustrated it for one of my clients, Aiden Levin.
Clouds, doing good things.
Cloud things. It looks like G.
I'm getting off, my eyes are going. I got to get some meditation. Clouds by doing cloud things.
Yeah.
And so this is purely illustrated.
Yeah, it was a client of mine wrote that book about a cloud's journey, but it's also the emotional journey.
Oh, I love that.
And,
That is beautiful. I'm going to, at the very end, put these close to the camera so everybody can see. I'm saving this Tantra one for the last.
I know. This one I did
honey?
This one I illustrated a long time ago, and it was a woman named Donita Anderson, and she had me illustrating all of the Neolithic feminine archetypes of Eastern Europe. There was a matriarchal civilization that lived there, and so, I mean,
Those are the women that really know themselves, right?
Well, I remember Donita asking me, like, what do you want? What do you really think? When I was 20, and I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
What other people want me to want? I don't know.
These are amazing.
Yeah.
I'm going to put these up on our podcast website as well so people can look at them and see if they are something that somebody would like to do.
Amazing.
You know, and to look into, because I can feel, I'm somewhat empathic. I am not an empath, but I am empathic. And I can feel so much from you, like so much positivity and spiritual giving. Like you want to. This is something you want to do. You're not here to just be like, all right, let me help you out here.
Yeah.
Let me get you out of the rut. No, you really care and you really want to get into the psyche of somebody that's struggling and you really want to make it work out for them. I believe that. I could feel it. I could feel it when you were doing your mini sesh with Jenn.
It's the most amazing feeling to watch someone see who they really are and what they really want to do with their lives and then start to go for it. Like I've watched so many people that I've worked with even over the course of years just become their ultimate selves.
Wow.
And so I really, and I've done it, you know, going through the list of dark and horrible things I've experienced and how I've used meditation and yoga and like self-realization and art, like creative flow to get out of them, it would take a whole nother podcast, but I know these things work. Those some of the stories are in the books.
We need to have a deeper conversation with you. You have to come back.
Absolutely.
Pleasure to be here.
Because so you said you have handled the dark and the bad things that have happened to you through meditation. I've handled mine through anxiety, stress, self-hatred, and crying.
Yeah.
Because I don't have the tools to handle another traumatic event in my life. If something else happens, who knows? But what I'm saying is, like, I've had many, and I've had EMDR, that's why I knew what it was about, and I have gone through some serious traumatic events. And without the tools, you're kind of left floating along, and thinking, I just got to take care of myself. I'm just going to make it through. And you do, but you still react differently than you normally would have reacted to a situation.
You're carrying it all in your body.
You do, and you carry it in your shoulder. You have tense, pain, back pain, anything. And a lot of your physical issues come because you're not really in control of your emotions or what has happened to you in the past, because you're just wandering along with it like it's a backpack.
Yeah.
And
You don't get to be your true
can't.
self.
And the way, I've overcome a few things that it took many, many years. But when I look back and see the way I would react to something, I was like, wow, I'm a psycho.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know, oh, there's calm ways to deal with this. There's ways to look into yourself. There's ways to love yourself through the pain and to understand it wasn't you that created the scenario, but you do say that sometimes we put ourselves in a position and we don't know that we're in a position until it's too late.
Yeah, like we want self-realization. I watch people go straight headlong into the most traumatic choice, especially with love relationships. And I can see they're hungry to experience until they understand. Like, it's something that doesn't resonate with their natural state of being, their idea of love, their idea of life. And so they like just go back into it over and over and over again because they
Right.
want self-realization.
Is that why women are attracted to the same type of guy?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
is. Is
Yeah,
that
they're like,
very
I
true?
need to have this wound again because I don't understand it. Like, we're going for it.
Right, like we're almost more comfortable being in a chaotic mind or like an unsure place than when things are
Calm.
calm and like whenever things are going really good for me, I get scared.
Yeah.
I get scared instead of embracing it. I get, okay, well, something's going to fall out of the sky or rip from under my feet because things are going too good right now. Why can't we just embrace the good, accept it, breathe into it, and say, I deserve this?
Yeah, it's your belief system. It's like, how can you change that?
Yeah, you can change it for us.
Well, I don't do anything for anybody.
No,
I've-
you do it with us.
I support
guide
people
people
into,
to-
yeah.
What you do is
Finding that
amazing.
truth.
Erin, I'm so happy that we have you here. I want to get into this because we're girls. Now, this is called the hedonistic
The hedonist ascetic.
yeah, what she said. Okay, and it is by you, and it is this more or less learning about your body and your desires?
Well, it's interesting that you chose this one as the most tantric book out of all of them. Well, because I'll say, first of all, Tantra it's the path to enlightenment where everything is divinity. You know, you can get to the point where you understand that everything is light or everything is energy by either taking yourself away from everything and you know, going to the top of a mountain and sitting in the snow in a diaper, or you can
I thought I was just losing my mind that day.
or you can delve into and see the divinity in everything, right? And that's Tantra. And there's so this particular book, The Hedonist Ascetic, it's actually it's for the codependence recovery population, and it's uniting the 12 steps with the 8 limbs of yoga, Patanjali's 8 limbs of yoga, because I went through codependence recovery. You know, I studied it. I was just interested. I went to meetings with friends that were going through it, and then when I left my son's father, I was like, oh, I better figure that out for myself. And I was like, well, the 12 steps feel limited, and I don't even know what codependency is, and it just felt shallow compared to what I had been exposed to in the 8 limbs of yoga.
So when you say 12 steps, it's obviously something different than what most people think of when they hear 12 steps.
Well, it's the 12-step program.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's the same.
But it felt to me like it was the same as the 8 limbs of yoga, because yoga isn't just physical movements. It's the yamas and the niyamas, which is truthfulness and giving everything up to something higher than ourselves, and not stealing and not grasping, and clarity and non-harming, you know. And then you get into the breath and moving into the breath, and then you get into the asana, and then you get to different levels of meditation, which is like single-pointed focus, and then focusing on the everything, and then hitting a state of bliss, which is samadhi, and that's the 8 limbs of yoga. And to me, it felt like the same thing as the 12 steps. And I was like, if people who were going through the 12-step program actually knew that they were following this like 5,000-year-old system for enlightenment, they might be able to take it to another level, you know? So that's what
But that's
this
incredible.
is.
And also the 12 steps is leading to something that people had to turn to cover something up, to block something, to get not have to not feel. So when you're in a 12-step program, whether it's for drugs, alcohol, or anything else, anger,
People, shopping.
yeah. I have a 12-step shopping program. That's a whole different story. But I can see it now because it goes way back into the way we react and the way we produce our feelings within ourselves when something happens.
Yeah.
And I mean, if we could all just be brave and strong, and when something really traumatic happens, say, walk it off, it would not be an amazing thing. But that's not the way we're built, and that's not the way we are. We are feeling creatures. We have so many senses, and just to tap into them with you just for the small amount of time that we did for the chat box is incredible. And I want to give you an opportunity because I know you have an event coming up or a workshop or something.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was
Here's where we
trying to
get
get
into
to.
the tantric. The tantric work. So I'm offering my most amazing retreat idea.
Retreat.
And
That's
a retreat
the one I was
idea.
trying to get before.
It's called Spiritual Dominatrix. Because and it's with a friend of mine. I have these amazing yoga girlfriends all over the world because I was the wandering studying, you know, and she is a Kundalini yoga and a permaculturist, but she's also a professional dominatrix. And so we're offering this retreat where we get together, or we're meeting virtually for 3 months, and we're doing trauma reprogramming and somatic reprogramming and all of this deep work, and even like fasting and the tantric yoga. Like I've studied at the feet of masters in mountains in India and stuff, like teaching everything. And then we're all gonna come together in a fabulous mansion on the beach in Miami for 5 days and really learn how to embody this together. And a lot of it is about letting our voice open and letting that, not angry feminine, but the ferocious feminine come through instead of negating it in what everybody else wants us to do, to just let it go from head to heart out through our mouths and imparting our truth out into the world.
Wow.
And she's actually going to teach us how to be dominatrixes. And then I'm like a brutal deep tissue massage therapist. So I'm also going to teach women how to
how to hurt somebody.
But they like it, you know. So
Do you like it? Do you like it?
so I mean, it's that too.
But is there a power about I mean, I know that people can feel kinky all you want, but there's other things to it. Isn't there a power behind a dom? Because you're kind of like you're taking control. Nobody could tell you what to do. You are in charge.
Well, yeah, and I think a lot of women, we have that anyway. We have a powerful, we know how things need to be, right? And but women come at it kind of manipulatively or sort of asking permission.
Yeah.
And it actually causes rifts with the men in their lives, you know. But then I'm like, well, okay, so there's a lot of women that they're accused of being bossy or, naggy or whatever, but then these men are paying my friend to yell at them and tell them to do stuff. So I'm like, what are we doing wrong? I want to figure this out. I want to take some women with me like this, you know.
No, you make perfect sense because it's true. When we care, we start saying, well, what if you do this, blah, 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 and we're just trying to give our input. No, we're not trying to shove it down someone's throat, but then they take it as, she's always saying the same thing over and over again. But then they'll go to somebody like your friend and be like, hurt me as much as you want.
She's like, kiss my boot. Clean the floor with your tongue.
Aren't the people that go see women like her men in high power positions?
Yeah, or,
Because they don't have anybody putting them in their place almost. So they kind of need that balance because they're always so high and mighty, and maybe they need to be taken down a couple of notches by a hot woman.
By a hot woman who's mad at them in a sexy outfit.
Mad at them just for being a man.
But so we're going to have belly dancing. I have a belly dancing teacher in Miami.
I want to be the neighbor in this hotel in Miami by the time this is all over.
It's like Barbie's McMansion or whatever.
Wow. So tell us when and where and how to sign up for something like this. If you have an interest in empowering yourself and getting away and doing a retreat that not only brings you home feeling different, stronger, new, and empowered, but you have a new
skills,
and a new skills. So how do we sign up or find out more about this? And I want to get information on where we can find you and all the other good stuff, because you've been such a remarkable guest.
Thank you. It's such a great opportunity to, I'm so happy to be here. This is,
Yes, thank you.
Well, you can find out about so it's a retreat and a 3-month coaching package with both of us.
Okay.
And that's at tantriclifestyledesign.com. And you sign up for that, and it involves kind of a phone call because we want to make sure it's the right mix of people. So, and then you can find everything about me on erinsutra.com. That's Erin, Sutra.com. And that's all of my books are there. It's actually, I made a tantric yoga app.
Nice.
And I just decided to turn that into my website. So when you go to erinsutra.com, it's actually the tantric yoga app, and there's some really cool, it's all about getting high off of yourself. Like, you're the drug. So there's some really cool, powerful little 2-3 minute breath work practices that'll make you see outer space and all of my writing.
I could think of a pose that would keep me home all day. I'll love myself after that.
You gotta just be tuned up like channel for divinity. So so erinsutra.com. I've been kind of smashing all of the things. Like, how do I put this into one?
Well, you have so much going on that the time on one chat box is never enough. But I'm so glad we got to introduce you to everybody here in the community. We need and love people like you, and the fact that you have taken whatever stuff you've been through in your earlier part of life and turned it into something where you can make a living out of it, heal people, help people, and just bring to light a whole different way of understanding yourself and your traumas and the things you've been through. I mean, you're all encompassing, so thank you for that. Do you have any questions for Erin before we take off?
I do, just one, but it's about some content you said earlier. You were talking about codependency, and I feel like the word codependency is just being thrown around all over the place.
I agree.
And, all over Instagram, I see the codependency this and that, and like, you have to heal your codependency. What does it mean? Like, what is the definition? You said you yourself were looking for that as a definition.
Yeah, because I remember even like watching people going to meetings and looking into it myself. It was like, what is it? It is outsourcing our bliss. It's trying to find our wholeness and our bliss in something outside of ourselves. Mm-hmm. And when we find it in something else, then we're depending on that. We're trying to get it from that, whether it's a person or a drug or a place or a job or money or, it's
great description.
And it makes us hollow when we're outsourcing, we're trying to get it from outside of ourselves, then we're evacuating our center. And we'll never find it there.
I love that.
That is amazing. So basically, what you're saying is that we have control, whether we know it or not. We do have the control to handle, to work out things, to also, if we're confronted with a situation or another trauma, maybe we can have the tools to deal with it in a different way than we did when we were completely unsure and at a loss as to how to walk through life with all the darkness behind us.
Absolutely. And I feel like I want to look at the camera and say a thing.
Please do.
Like you said,
look
when you make a point, you look at the camera.
Make a point. Look at the camera.
I'm ready.
What did I do?
Some preview went off.
All right, well then look at that one.
I'll look at this camera. Your greatest wound is your greatest source of self-realization and your greatest offering to the world. Like, that's the thing, that's your deepest understanding is your greatest pain.
I have the divine tingles when I'm reading that statement. That was amazing. Do you understand what she said by that?
Yeah, it takes me back to the exercise that we just did.
Yeah.
And exploring that and going to that moment. And I'm still like processing that because that was really like wild. I literally have not thought about that moment in years. And I would never, like if we were talking about this yesterday, I would have never even brought that up as like the source of my pain or anything like that. And so like to me, like it's just exploring. There's so much that we're carrying. That
and there's a reason
realize.
why that memory came up.
Yeah.
Because that's something you've like subconsciously tap into because it was obviously the source of the beginning of your stressful experience. And maybe because she had you go there, whether you knew you were going there or not, you could keep going there and you can keep visiting that space and remembering that you did get through it.
feelings
And you
from that.
did unclog. And you unclogged the toilet of life.
I feel like I should mention, just to call out one of my teachers,
Please.
there's a woman named Dr. Erin Sutra that I just chose her because of her name. But and like that particular line, like my deep understanding of that comes from her work. But it's about getting as deep as you can into that painful spot, and then everything that you wish would have happened, or everything that you think should have happened, or all of the declarations that start to pour through you that you would have liked instead of that experience, those are your work. Those are your truth.
Totally. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
And then when you said that, and maybe it's also because I have the earphones on, so it was just like a
Yeah.
higher power telling me.
Well, because you're enclosed in your own head. Yeah, it's true. You're like wrapped in your brain.
Yeah. It was like, oh my gosh, like it just made it feel more real, and
Yes.
like it was telling my body, like fibers, like, yes, this is your new path.
But I could
Amazing.
feel it. I could feel it over here. I really could. And I thought that was remarkable. Erin, we can't thank you enough. You have been enlightening. You have been a visionary for a lot of us I've learned stuff in the last half hour. And I think it's just a wonderful thing. And I can't thank you enough for being here. How do we reach you so people can find out more about you and maybe get a little guidance?
ErinSutra.com.
ErinSutra.com. That's not Karma Sutra. It's Erin Sutra.
Erin.
ErinSutra.com. That was amazing. I can't even begin to say all the great things that we have just learned today on the podcast. That's why we're here, everybody. We come to you from High Five Access Media. We want to heal. We want to help. We want to give you the breath work. We want to give you the sounds, the tools, and the people that can help us get through life in a much more manageable way. So thank you, Jenn Saito. Thank you, Erin. Dr. Erin Sutra. And I'm Liz. We are the Chatbox Fail, and we thank you for tuning in. And just get ready for so many more wonderful episodes where we're going to help you guys get with it in life.
Yeah,
right?
we'll definitely have to have you back for now part 2 and a 3.
Can we have the dominatrix come in?
Yeah, we could all three. We could do that.
I would love it. I'll just go to her, learn what I need to learn, and then I will prove it all to you.
Well, thank you for
Thank
having
you
me.
again. You're a magnificent human being. Dr. Erin Sutra, everybody, on the Chatbox Veil, coming to you from High Five Access Media. Have a very healthy day.